Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's a-gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white. God's a-gonna trouble the water. The leader looks like the Israelite. God's a-gonna trouble the water. Ooh, wade in the water. Oh, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God is gonna trouble. God's a-gonna trouble the water. Oh, see that band all dressed in red. God's a-gonna trouble the water. Ooh, it looks like the band that Moses led. God's a-gonna trouble the water. Oh, whoa, whoa, wade in the water. Oh, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God is gonna trouble, yes he will, the water. Oh, ooh, 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 oh, oh. God is gonna trouble. God's gonna trouble the water. There's healing in the water, yeah, 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 yeah. The water. Deliverance in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. My God is gonna trouble, gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's a-gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white. God's a-gonna trouble the water. The leader looks like the Israelite. God's a-gonna trouble the water. Ooh, wade in the water. Oh, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God is gonna trouble. God's a-gonna trouble the water. Oh, see that band all dressed in red. God's a-gonna trouble the water. Ooh, it looks like the band that Moses led. God's a-gonna trouble the water. Oh, whoa, whoa, wade in the water. Oh, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God is gonna trouble, yes he will, the water. Oh, ooh, 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 oh, oh. God is gonna trouble. God's gonna trouble the water. There's healing in the water, yeah, 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 yeah. The water. Deliverance in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. My God is gonna trouble, gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's a-gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white. God's a-gonna trouble the water. The leader looks like the Israelite. gonna trouble the water. Ooh, wade in the water. Oh, wade in the water, children, wade in the water.
Good morning, New Beginnings and our Facebook family. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to be with you for another Black History Youth Day program. With so much going on in our nation and happening around us every day, we decided that it was important to highlight some of our awesome things that are taking place in African American culture and some of the people that have paved the path for us today. Our theme for this year's program is our Black history, past and present. We are grateful for the influence and change that many of our brothers and sisters are making on an unprecedented level, and we hope that you are encouraged and inspired to affect change in your circles. Please enjoy the presentations highlighting Black history makers that our New Beginnings history makers will share with you today. We'll be blessed to hear a wonderful message from our very own Deacon Chuck Watts as he shares his many years of expertise in American history as a teacher in the Alachua County Public Schools. Thank you and be blessed, and we hope you enjoy today's youth service.
The higher you build your barrier, the taller I become. The farther you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. Yeah. You hide behind walls of Jericho. Alarms come tumbling down. Yeah. Deny my place in time. You squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so bright it will blind you, because there's something inside so strong. Hey, hey, I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Oh yeah, brothers and sisters, when they insist that we're just not good enough. Yeah, when we know better, just look them in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway. 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 Sister Pigelena, Sister Pigelena, Sister Pigelena, Helena, Sister Pigelena, Sister Pigelena.
Let's do the pledge by our very own Tanya F. Freeney. Today, I'll do my best to be my best. What I do today will make a difference in my life. My choice will affect me and those around me. I will listen. I'll follow directions. I'll be honest. I respect rights of others. I'll learn something today because today matters and my future is built one now at a time.
Wade in the water.
Good morning, New Beginnings Church family. Welcome to New Beginnings Church Online. We are always so excited to see you, and it is Youth Sunday. So if you have any youth, any children, bring them to this service. It is going to be awesome, and they're going to learn so much, they're going to grow so much, and they will get church on their level. So it is offering time in the sanctuary, and that is such an important time for us because it is during this time that we get to give back to God out of the bounty that He has given to us. It's our way of saying thank you, God, for all that you have done and that you are doing for us. Now, there are 3 ways that you can give to this ministry. The first is through an app called Givelify. You can go to the Google Play Store or the Apple iTunes Store, download the app, then search for New Beginnings Church of God by Faith, click the donate button, and give that way. The second way that you can give is on our website. Simply go to www.nbcogbf.org, look for the donate button, click it, and donate that way. And the last way that you can give is the old-fashioned way. Simply write out your check to New Beginnings Church of God by Faith and send it to P.O. Box 6146, Gainesville, Florida 32627. We are always so thankful and so grateful for the giving that you do to this ministry. And know that every seed that you sow goes into good use. So thank you in advance for your giving. And before I leave, I want to thank everyone who has been going to our YouTube site and subscribing there. Yes, New Beginnings is also on YouTube. And if you want to avail yourself to that, simply go over to youtube.com and in the search bar put New Beginnings Church of God by Faith. And then when you see the picture of our church building, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, make sure that you click the notification bell so that you get the notification when we are live. We are building our presence there, and we are so thankful and so grateful that if you have family, if you have friends that do not have Facebook, but they want to be a part of the service, they can use YouTube to do that. Now, the next voice you will hear will be the message coming from Deacon Amos Watts Jr. We are so excited about Youth Sunday, bringing our youth into ministry even during a time such as this. We thank you and we pray that God's blessings be multiplied upon you.
Wade in the water.
My name is Dion Walton, and I'm 12 years old, and I'll be reading Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. A dominant high school basketball player, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was recruited to play at UCLA and lead to the 3 national titles. His dominance continued in the NBA for the Milwaukee Bucks, and later that Los Angeles finished the league all-time score. He retired in 1989, and he was widely considered one of the greatest players in the NBA history. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was born Freeland Lewis Alcindor Jr. on April 16, 1947, in New York City, the only son of Freeland Lewis Alcindor Sr., New York City policeman, and his wife, Cora Alcindor, was always the tallest kid in his class. Over the next 15 seasons, Abdul-Jabbar turned Los Angeles into a perennial winner, beginning with the 1979 and the 80 seasons, when he was paired with the rookie point guard Magic Johnson. The dominant center propelled the Lakers to 5 league titles. His signature jump shot was skyhook, came to be unstoppable offense weapon for Abdul-Jabbar, and the Lakers enjoyed the championship dominance over Julius Dr. Irving, Philadelphia 76er Larry Bird, Boston Celtics, and Isaiah Thomas Detroit Pistons. In November 2009, Abdul-Jabbar was diagnosed with a rare from leukemia, but his long-term prognosis looked favorable. In February 2011, Doctor declared the retired NBA star career. Abdul-Jabbar was named in 2016 recent Presidential Medal of Freedom presented by Barack Obama. I just read about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Wade in the water.
My name is DeAndre Bond. I'm 5 years old. Daniel is born February 5th. He died in 1920. In my house, he must be paralyzed. Don't dare rise. Don't find do double.
Wade in the water.
My name is Brianna Walton, and I'm 11 years old, and I will be reading Allison Felix. Allison Felix was born November 18, 1985, in California, nicknamed Chicken Legs, for her lanky physique. Felix went out of the track team as a high school freshman. She excelled from the start within a year, finishing the 7th in the 200-meter dash and CIF California State meet, eventually becoming the 5-time winner. At the age of 18, Felix won a silver medal at the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens. She went on competing at the 2008 and 2012 and 2016 Olympic, winning a total of 9 medals, 6 golds, and 3 silvers. She is currently the most decorated woman in the USA track field history. Olympic gold medalist and the famed sprinter Allison Felix was born November 18, 1985, Los Angeles, California. Felix raised and devout Christian by her father and an ordinary minister, and her mother was a local elementary school teacher. And her older brother, Wes Felix, was also a sprinter. Eventually, gifts from a young age, Felix began playing basketball as a kid. In 2003, Track Field News named Felix is the National Girls High School Athlete of the Year. Soon after, as high school senior, he finished in the second 200 at the USA Indoor Track Field Championships. That the same year, she made history in Mexico City, finishing the 200-meter race in 22.11 seconds, a new world second under 20 category. In 2003, Felix decided to forego college ability and instead of signing a professional contract with the dealers who picked her up. I just read a Black History presentation about Allison Felix.
Wade in the water.
The hill we climb. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, Americans, and the world. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny Black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but this doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, and characters of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith, we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared it at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour. But within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left. With every breath from our bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the West. We will rise from the windswept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and dutiful, will emerge battered but beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
My name is Pierre Watson, and I'm 13 years old. I'm going to be presenting General Lord James Austin. General Lord James Austin is 5-star governor in U.S. Army. He was born in Mobile Army on August 8, 1953, but grew up in farming community in Thomasville. Austin lived with his mother, Kayla Austin, the Vice Cattler, and his 5 siblings. As a studying high school student and athlete, he was awarded a scholarship to attend the University of Notre Dame, but was persuaded by the father, Lord Austin Sr., a post-worker in the United States Academy at West Point in New York. While there, Austin played rugby and joined the track team in 1975. In 1975, Austin was first assigned to be a Poland in 3rd Infantry Division in Germany. He is currently serving as the first black Secretary of Defense for the USA. And I presented Lord James Austin.
Wade in the water.
My name is Robert, and I'm 6 years old, and my presentation is Jim Brown. He was born in 1936. He played for the Cleveland Browns, and he played football. And after he played football, he became an actor. My presentation is Jim Brown.
Wade in the water.
My name is Jakaria Watson. I'm 15 years old, and today I'll be speaking on Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was born in Oakland, California in 1964. She earned a bachelor's degree in political science and economics from Howard University in 1986, and a JD from the University of California, Hastings in 1989. After graduating from law school, Harris joined the office as Alameda County District Attorney. She worked for 8 years as a prosecutor. In 2003, Kamala Harris was elected San Francisco District Attorney. She won re-elected in 2007. Harris defeated Los Angeles County District Attorney Steve Coley to win election as State Attorney General, receiving 46 votes of the vote to Coley's 45. She won re-elected in 2014 over Ronald Gold with 56% of vote. In 2016, Harris defeated Representative Loretta Sanchez to win the United States Senate seat held by Barbara Boxer. She received 60% of the vote to Sanchez 38. Kamala Harris is the 49th Vice President of the United States, taking office in January 20, 2021, in President Joe Biden's administration. Harris is the first black woman in person of South Asian descent to serve the Vice President. Harris previously ran for President of the United States, entering the race January 21, 2019. She suspended her presidential campaign on December 3, 2019, and endorsed Biden on March 8, 2020. On January 21st, Kamala Harris was elected Vice President of the United States, becoming the first African and woman elected to this position. And I just read to you about Kamala Harris.
Wade in the water.
Greetings, New Beginnings. It is a pleasure to be with you again. Thank you to Pastor Armstrong for allowing me to speak to your people, and thank you to Minister Leslie Thomas for giving me this invitation. Our theme today is Our Black History, Past and Present. And my question to you is, what is your history? First off, let me ask your patience with me, with the mask and the glasses. I have issues that I need to protect, so I ask that you be patient with me, but we will continue and be successful. History is defined as the study of past events, particularly in human affairs. As such, my desire is to encourage the youth here in the study of past and future events in Black human affairs. I hope to inspire you to learn your history and instead, of course, to leave a legacy that you and your family can be proud of. As a history teacher, I'm constantly learning and teaching about events of the past. The more I learn, the more I understand that there's so much that I do not know. During the month of February, we discussed the achievements of various Africans and African Americans who contributed to this country and the world. There is much more to the story that is untold than that which is told. Our people achieved greatness while being oppressed in society, suppressed in the text, and repressed in our minds. We've come a long way, yet we have a long way to go. My reference scripture is taken from St. Matthew, the 25th chapter, and the 14th through the 30th verses. Familiar text, the parable of the talents. Verse 14 reads, "For it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, and to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went and at once traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you have delivered to me 5 talents here. I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents, and here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He who also had received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I have scattered no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In the place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Now there are several gleanings and understandings taken from this particular text. I want to focus, however, on the fact that the master expected a return on the talents that he gave his servants. He understood their skills and abilities, and he gifted them with the talents accordingly. Each one, however, was expected to multiply his talents according to his skill. Doing nothing was not acceptable. 1 Peter 4:10 reads, Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. My dad was an avid golfer, so I want to talk a little bit about a golfer. His name was Shirley Chisholm, and he multiplied his talent. While playing golf in a tournament in 1959, was taunted with racial slurs from the spectators as he played. He had to ignore those interruptions and continue. On one particular drive, someone ran and kicked his ball into the rough, thereby ruining his score. He had to take the point deduction and continue as if it didn't happen. He was asked why he didn't quit, and he responded, My wife would never let me quit. He endured and was finally allowed to join the PGA Tour in 1961 and went on to win his first PGA tournament in 1967. He had a talent and he had to multiply it. He could not stop and do nothing because that would displease his master. I'm a musician, so I talk a little bit about a musician. Her name was Sister Rosetta. She picked up the guitar at 4 years old. And at the age of 6, She accompanied her mother to perform with a traveling evangelist troupe in churches around the South. As Tharp grew up, she began fusing Delta blues, New Orleans jazz, and gospel music into what would become her signature style. Although Tharp's distinctive voice and unconventional style attracted fans, it was still the mid-1930s. Female guitarists were rare, and even more so was a musician who pursued both religious and secular themes, a fact that alarmed the gospel community. But Tharp, young and innovative, was determined to keep experimenting with her sound. Her persistence and grit paid off, and by 1938, she had joined the Cotton Club Review, a New York City club that became especially notable during the Prohibition era. She was young, she was female, and she was black. But she realized her talent and persevered through all obstacles to become a trailblazer in contemporary gospel music and the forerunner of rock and roll. Today, we realize that in our most recent elections, that black females were an integral part to what happened. So I want to talk to you about a historical black female in politics. Her name was Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Anita Chisholm was born November 30th, 1924, was an American politician, educator, and author. In 1968, she became the first black woman elected to the United States Congress, 1968, representing New York's 12th congressional district for 7 terms from 1969 to 1983. In the 1972 United States presidential election, she became the first African American candidate for a major party's nomination for President of the United States, and the first woman to run for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination. Born in Brooklyn, Chisholm studied and worked in early childhood education, becoming involved in local Democratic Party politics in the 1950s. In 1964, overcoming some resistance because she was a woman, she was elected to the New York State Assembly. 4 years later, she was elected to Congress, where she led expansion of food and nutrition programs for the poor and rose to party leadership. She retired from Congress in 1983 and taught at Mount Holyoke College while continuing her political organizing. Although nominated for an ambassadorship in 1993, health issues caused her to withdraw. In 2015, Chisholm was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. 1968, first African American to run for president was a black female. 1968 was a turbulent time, a lot of violence, a lot of racial oppression, a lot of turbulence. She was not desired by a lot of her peers, but she had a talent, she had a skill, she had to multiply it. She could not disappoint her master. All these 3 individuals realized their talent and had a passion to maximize their potentials. They resisted the urge to quit when it would have been much easier to do so. But quitting would have been like doing nothing. Doing nothing would have been a waste of the talent, displeasing to the master, but their passion for greatness just wouldn't allow them to. I want to encourage the youth in particular to begin to build your own personal legacies, leaving your own rich personal histories. Discover your own talents and your passion. Be fruitful and begin to multiply. Make a good return for the master. If you don't know how, start by trying to impact the life of just one person. Choose one person and focus on that one person and try and make that one person's life better. Meet a need. Make it a priority. You'll never truly know its value, but your legacy will have a great start. Thank you for listening.
Wade in the water.
Lift every voice and sing. Lift every voice and sing. True to our God, true to our name.
God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadow beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our God, true to our God, true to our native land.
In the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water.